much as there's risk, if you do your body with a professional surgeon, you will be okay.
Influencers tend to create seemingly perfect beauty standards.
I'm a public figure. It is well expected that most public figures should look really gorgeous and beautiful.
Nke Oma Documentary TV. Why does a 24-year-old woman walk into a cosmetic surgery clinic on a Thursday afternoon and never walk out alive? Why does she ignore one clinic that tells her the truth, that her body might not survive the procedure, and choose another clinic that promises her everything she wants to hear?
Something bad happened to her. Her stomach was swollen and her lips was dark. And she was just smiling.
People are dying every day. With BBL or not, people are dying every day.
And why? Just 48 hours after surgery, when she's crying in pain, burning with fever, her body's swelling in ways it shouldn't, why do the people she trusted tell her family that this is normal? That everyone goes through this? That she just needs to be patient? Here's the harder question. Why does this keep happening? Week after week, month after month. Different women, different clinics, same devastating outcome. This isn't a story about vanity. This isn't about judging women who want to feel beautiful. This is about a system that's profiting from desperation, while young Nigerian women pay with their lives. This is the story they don't post on Instagram. The story behind the filtered selfies and the before and after photos that flood your timeline every single day. Open Instagram right now. Go ahead. Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt. Everywhere you look, perfect curves, snatched waists, hourglass figures that make you stop scrolling. The clinics know what you're thinking when you see those photos. They know the exact moment when admiration turns into wanting. When "she looks amazing" becomes "why don't I look like that?" And that's when they reach you. The ads, the testimonials, the before and after transformations that seem almost miraculous. 2 million naira, they tell you, maybe 3. Safe procedure, quick recovery, you'll love your new body. They show you glossy brochures, professional websites, certificates on the wall. They use words like board certified and internationally trained and expert surgeon. Everything looks legitimate. Everything feels safe. But here's what's actually happening behind those clinic doors. Medical law in Nigeria is clear. Before any cosmetic surgery, you're supposed to receive thorough consultation, physical examination, complete medical history, blood tests, psychological screening, a real conversation about risks, not what you want, what you need to know. But we've discovered something troubling. In many facilities across Lagos, this process gets rushed. Sometimes it's done in minutes rather than hours. Sometimes critical steps get skipped entirely. No proper assessment of your medical history, no psychological evaluation to ensure you're making this decision for the right reasons. No honest discussion about what can go wrong. You walk in, they take your measurements, you sign a consent form, pages of legal language you barely have time to read. They smile, they reassure you. They take your deposit, and they don't tell you about the women who came before you, the ones who didn't make it home. 2022, a young woman in Lagos, Brazilian butt lift surgery. She dies from severe bleeding complications. The clinic describes her blood loss as routine. Her family knows better. 2023, another woman, different facility. Same story unfolding. 2024, Lekki, a 36-year-old woman. She doesn't wake up from surgery. Authorities open an investigation. The news cycle moves on. The clinic stays open. 2025, it happens again. 2026, just last month, a young influencer, thousands of followers. A whole community of people who loved her content, who commented on her posts, who thought they knew her. She'd already had one Brazilian butt lift. She wanted a revision, a touch-up, to perfect the results. The first clinic she approached examined her and turned her away. Too risky, they said. Your body can't handle another surgery safely. So she found a clinic that would say yes. February 6th, 2026. The surgery happens. February 8th, just 2 days later, the pain starts. Severe pain, fever, swelling that shouldn't be there. She calls the clinic. They tell her it's normal. Everyone experiences this. Just be patient. It will pass. But it doesn't pass. February 13th. Emergency surgery. The diagnosis: sepsis. A massive infection ravaging her entire body. The medical team transfuses 5 units of blood. They're fighting for her life. Her family sells everything, their car, property. They borrow from everyone they know. The medical bills climb to 45 million naira. 45 million naira to try to save a life that a 2 million naira surgery put in danger.
You decide what you want your life to be. You don't have the money to have cosmetic surgery because it doesn't come cheap. I don't advise people who don't have the money to go to quacks, please, because there's a lot of risk involved. Not inject engine oil into your ass to get a big ass. Not inject Vaseline. Oh, I don't know. I don't support that. I think you're risking your life.
March 8th, 2026. She dies. Her sister posts a video, crying, broken. My twin sister is gone just like that. The video goes viral. Millions of views, thousands of comments, shock, outrage, grief. And then, slowly, other stories start emerging. Other families, other deaths, different clinics across Lagos, different years. But the same pattern. The Lagos state government launches an investigation. The Health Facilities Monitoring and Accreditation Agency HEFAMAA begins its work. But for her family, for every family that's lost someone, the investigation doesn't bring her back. It doesn't erase the debt. It doesn't fill the empty chair at the dinner table. Let's talk about money. Because the marketing says one thing, but the reality is something else entirely. Complete package. The brochure promises 2 million naira, everything included. Here's what they don't put in the brochure. Consultation fee, 50,000 to 100,000 naira just to meet with the surgeon. Pre-surgery medical tests, 70,000 naira. The actual surgery, 2 to 3 million naira. Sometimes more. Compression garments, special surgical wear you'll need in multiple sizes as your body changes during recovery. 500,000 naira. Post-surgery lymphatic drainage massages, and you'll need 20 to 30 sessions, not the 10 they included. 600,000 naira for the additional sessions, at 30,000 naira each. Pain management medications, 200,000 naira. Now here's where it gets really expensive. You can't just go home to Abuja or Port Harcourt and recover. You need to stay in Lagos, near the clinic, for follow-up care. A short-let apartment at 80,000 naira per day, for a month. That's 2.4 million naira just for accommodation. Return flights between cities, 200,000 naira. And this is if everything goes right. When complications happen, when infection sets in, when your body rejects the procedure, when sepsis takes hold, the costs become unlimited. Emergency care, ICU admission, blood transfusions. Emergency revision surgery. We documented one case where a woman budgeted 3 million naira for surgery. Her total cost, including recovery, nearly 12 million naira. Another woman, her complications required 45 million naira in medical intervention. Families sell their businesses, their land, they exhaust their life savings. They borrow money, they'll spend the next decade repaying. For a surgery that was supposed to make life better, why do they do it? So, here's the question that keeps us up at night. Why? Why do young, intelligent, beautiful Nigerian women risk everything for this surgery? The answer is in your hand right now. Your phone, 70%. A global survey found that 7 out of every 10 young women considering cosmetic surgery say social media influenced their decision. Think about that. 70%. And Nigeria? 33 million active social media users. The median age is just 18.1 years. We're talking about teenagers and young women in their 20s. An entire generation raised on Instagram feeds and TikTok videos. A generation that grew up watching Beyoncé, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, women whose bodies became the standard, whose curves became the goal. Every day, the algorithm shows you more. more perfect bodies, more dramatic transformations, more lives that look better than yours. And every like, every share, every comment saying, body goals, feeds the system. The algorithm doesn't care about your mental health. It doesn't care about your safety. It only cares about engagement. You're 18, you look in the mirror, and you don't see yourself anymore. You see everything you think you're missing. The pressure is unbelievable. It's not just social media, it's everywhere. Music videos, movies. The men in your DMs who only seem to notice women with certain body types. Your friends who got surgery and suddenly have more attention, more confidence, more opportunities. You start to believe that the surgery isn't just about looking better, it's about being valued, being seen, being enough. And that's exactly what the clinics are counting on. Let me explain what actually happens during a Brazilian butt lift. Because understanding this will help you understand why this surgery became so dangerous. The surgeon makes small incisions in your body. They insert a thin metal tube called a cannula and use it to suction fat from your abdomen, your thighs, your back. That fat gets purified. Then the surgeon injects it into your buttocks to create the shape you want. Sounds simple, right? Here's where it becomes deadly. Your buttocks have massive blood vessels running through the muscles. These vessels are critical. They carry blood throughout your lower body. But they're also incredibly vulnerable. In the early days of this surgery before 2017, many surgeons injected fat deep into the muscle. They didn't realize they were getting dangerously close to these major blood vessels. When that cannula punctures a vessel, even slightly, fat can enter your bloodstream, and once fat is in your bloodstream, it travels to your lungs, to your heart, to your brain. When it blocks a blood vessel, you have minutes, maybe less. This is called a fat embolism, and it can kill you on the operating table before anyone realizes what's happening. In 2017, researchers investigated this properly for the first time. They surveyed nearly 5,000 plastic surgeons worldwide. The findings were horrifying. The Brazilian butt lift had a mortality rate as high as 1 in 3,000, the deadliest cosmetic surgery ever documented. Worse than any other procedure. Worse than anything. Surgeons who injected fat into the muscle had a 403% increased risk of causing fatal complications. The plastic surgery community went into crisis mode. Some countries in Europe banned the procedure entirely. Some hospitals in the United States prohibited their surgeons from performing it.
So how do I know when I have enough fat for a BBL? Or when do I stop doing the lipo? Well, I'm always going to do lipo the same. I'm going to do lipo 400. I'm going to be very aggressive in the upper, the lower, the abdomen, and the bra rolls. That's very standard.
Medical organizations scrambled to create new safety guidelines. The message was clear: stay out of the muscle. Inject fat only in the subcutaneous space, the layer above the muscle. Never go deeper. By 2019, a better study was done. With the new techniques, the mortality rate dropped to 1 in 15,000. That's dramatic improvement. From 1 in 3,000 to 1 in 15,000. For comparison, tummy tucks have a mortality rate of 1 in 13,000. Modern Brazilian butt lifts, when done correctly, are actually statistically safer. But here's the critical point. Those safer numbers only apply when the surgery is performed by a properly qualified surgeon, using the correct technique, in a regulated facility. And that's where Nigeria has a serious problem. You walk into a clinic, you see certificates on the wall, diplomas, professional photos of the surgeon. You assume they're qualified. You assume they know what they're doing. But here's what we discovered through our investigation. We discovered public directory estimate for Lagos. Plastic reconstructive surgeons is around 30. But the true number currently qualified and registered to perform BBL in 2026 is unknown. And what does this signify? It signified that unknown, unqualified number of plastic reconstructive surgeons could be practicing in Lagos, since there are no government data showing qualified plastic reconstructive surgeons. Some practitioners may attend couple of months training courses abroad. They go to the United Kingdom, spend few months learning basic techniques, then return to Nigeria and start advertising themselves as expert surgeons. No certified qualified training, Then they're operating on bodies they don't fully understand, performing procedures they're not truly qualified to do. And here's the thing about African skin, African body types, African genetics, they're different. The fat distribution is different. The healing process is different. The complications can manifest differently. A surgeon trained on European or American patients doesn't understand these nuances. They're learning on Nigerian women's bodies. And some of those women don't survive the education.
How long does it take for standard BBL procedure?
Yeah, so for the BBL, like I said, the BBL means Brazilian butt lift.
Yeah.
And what it means is transferring fats to the hips and the butt. So usually it will be obtained or harvested from the tummy, the flanks, the back. So the liposuction aspect starts the procedure. From the start of the liposuction, usually an hour and 30 minutes should be done with the tummy, flanks, depending on how much fat the patient has and how much you're harvesting.
What do you think makes someone qualified enough for BBL procedure?
So you must be physically fit, you must be medically cleared to have the surgery. It's not an emergency. You must be ready also psychologically, right? For example, we do a BBL, I'll ask you not to sit for a couple of weeks. So you have to be mentally ready. You have to be financially ready. Very important, because the surgery itself costs money, the recovery process, a lot of things that you need to put into consideration. So.
Okay, so any surgeon can do a BBL procedure?
Well, I wouldn't say any surgeon can. So you want to make sure that, yes, the person you're meeting has a further interest in aesthetic surgery and also performs a lot of those procedures, including the BBL or breast or whatever it is the patient is interested in.
So for cases like the bad ones that led to death and all whatnot, what do you think could have been a factor?
Meeting somebody who is not fully qualified may mean that the person does not know all the possible things that can go wrong. But yet we see people performing surgeries, in theater, in hotel rooms. There have been cases of people, performing procedures in sterile environments. Different stories from across the world. So all those things can result in, poor management, sepsis, infection setting in, and all of that.
The marketing says internationally trained, technically true. But internationally trained can mean couple of months in a London classroom, not years of specialized surgical education. The marketing says board certified, but certified by whom? Which board? Under what standards? These are the questions you should ask. These are the questions many women never think to ask until it's too late. Let me walk you through what happens when things go wrong. Day 1, after surgery, you're home. The pain is worse than you expected. Much worse. You call the clinic. It's normal, they tell you. Every patient experiences this. Your body is adjusting. Just take your pain medication and rest. Day 2. The pain intensifies. You develop a fever. The swelling is spreading in ways that don't feel right. Another call. Same response. Normal. Be patient. It will pass. Day 3. Day 4. Day 5. Your family is worried now. You can barely move. The fever won't break. It's part of the healing process. The clinic insists. Don't worry. By the time they finally admit something is wrong, by the time they rush you to emergency care, sepsis has already taken hold. Sepsis. A life-threatening condition where infection spreads throughout your entire body. Your organs start failing. Your blood pressure drops. Your body goes into shock. Now you're in ICU. Emergency team working frantically. Blood transfusions. High-dose antibiotics. Emergency revision surgery to remove infected tissue. Your family is making desperate phone calls. Borrowing money. Selling assets. Watching the medical bills climb into millions of naira. And even with all of that, all the intervention, all the money, all the expertise of the emergency team, sometimes it's still too late. This is the reality behind those Instagram posts showing women dancing 2 weeks after surgery. Those aren't the full stories. Those are the success cases. The women who don't make it, their Instagram accounts disappear. Their stories get deleted. Their families grieve in private. And the next young woman scrolling through her feed has no idea that the clinic she's about to book with just lost a patient. Where is the government? Lagos State has the Health Facilities Monitoring and Accreditation Agency, HEFAMAA. Their job is to register clinics, set standards, monitor compliance, and investigate deaths. They take this seriously. When deaths are reported, they investigate. They verify credentials. They assess whether facilities meet safety standards. But here's the problem. Registration doesn't equal qualification. A clinic can be registered and still employ practitioners who aren't properly trained. Monitoring doesn't equal prevention. By the time HEFAMAA investigates, someone has already died, and investigation doesn't bring back the dead. We found facilities with concerning histories still operating, still advertising, still taking patients. Why? Because in Nigeria's current system, the commercial penalty for negligence often outweighs the legal penalty. A clinic can lose a patient and face fines or temporary suspension. Then they reopen. Different name, perhaps. Same practitioners. Some doctors work at multiple facilities. When one clinic faces scrutiny, they simply shift their practice to another location. The system isn't built to prevent these deaths. It's built to respond after death had occurred. And response without prevention means the epidemic continues. Let's talk about what death looks like for the families left behind. A mother who sold her shop, her source of income, her independence to pay medical bills for a daughter who just wanted to feel beautiful. A father taking loans from everyone he knows. Loans he'll spend the next 10 years repaying. Money borrowed in a desperate attempt to save a life he couldn't save. Siblings watching their sister slip away while doctors fight to undo damage that should never have happened. And the financial devastation is only part of. There's the shame. In a society where people will ask, why did she need surgery? Wasn't she beautiful enough? Who was she trying to impress? There's the isolation. Other families don't talk about their losses. So you grieve alone, wondering if you're the only one this happened to. There's the guilt. If only I'd stopped her. If only I'd questioned the clinic more. If only I'd insisted she wait. And there's the anger. Because you watch the clinic continue operating. You see their Instagram posts with new patients, new transformations, new promises, and you know that somewhere another family is about to go through exactly what you went through. But there is hope. Here's what gives us hope. All across Nigeria, young women are waking up. They're asking questions. They're demanding transparency. They're sharing stories that clinics tried to keep quiet. They're saying, enough. We need systemic change. And it starts with 4 demands. Demand 1. Public transparency. Every cosmetic clinic in Nigeria must publish their complete safety record. How many surgeries have they performed? How many complications? How many emergency interventions? How many deaths? All of it, public, accessible. Updated regularly. If a restaurant has to display its health inspection rating, why doesn't a clinic performing life-threatening surgery have to show you their track record? Patients deserve to know. They deserve to make informed decisions. They deserve to see the data before they sign the consent form. Demand 2. Criminal accountability. Right now, medical negligence in cosmetic surgery faces minimal consequences. Fines, license suspension. Maybe. Nigeria needs criminal prosecution for negligence that results in death. If you perform surgery you're not qualified to perform, and a patient dies, that's not just a regulatory violation. That's negligent homicide. If you rush through consultations, skip critical safety protocols, inject fat into dangerous areas despite knowing the risks and someone dies, you should face criminal charges. The penalties need to match the severity of the harm. Nothing less will create real change. Demand 3. Qualification standards no more. 3 or 6 months training courses. No more self-certification. No more internationally trained without verification. Nigeria needs rigorous mandatory qualification standards for anyone performing cosmetic surgery. Years of specialized training. Verified credentials. Regular recertification. Continuing education requirements. And we need to build capacity. Right now, Lagos has allegedly 30 doctors in aesthetic medicine training. That number needs to be in the hundreds. The government of Nigeria needs to create pathways for proper education, proper mentorship, proper skill development. We need Nigerian surgeons trained to understand Nigerian bodies. Not practitioners learning on the job while patients pay with their lives. Demand 4. Social media accountability. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. These platforms profit from cosmetic surgery content. Their algorithms amplify posts that get engagement. They create the pressure that drives young women toward dangerous decisions. They need to take responsibility. Mandatory health warnings on cosmetic surgery content, just like cigarette packages. This procedure carries risk of death. Consult qualified medical professionals. Verification requirements for clinics, advertising surgical services, prove your credentials, show your safety record, or you can't advertise. And real consequences for platforms that allow unqualified practitioners to market dangerous procedures to vulnerable users. The technology that created this epidemic can be part of the solution, but only if we demand it. The most important message, but beyond regulation, beyond legislation, beyond government action, there's something only you can do. If you're watching this right now and you've been thinking about Brazilian butt lift surgery, BBL, please hear this. Your body is not broken. Your body doesn't need fixing. What needs fixing is a system that convinced you your natural body isn't enough. What needs fixing is an algorithm that shows you 1,000 surgically enhanced bodies and calls it normal. What needs fixing is a culture that values appearance over life itself. You are enough, right now. Exactly as you are. Your family needs you alive more than they need you to look like a celebrity. Your friends need you breathing more than they need you to match a beauty standard that was never real in the first place. Before you book that surgery, do these things. Ask to see the surgeon's credentials. Not the certificates on the wall, their actual training history, where they studied, how long, under whom. Ask for their safety record, how many surgeries, how many complications. Have they ever had a patient die? Ask about their technique. Do they inject above the muscle or into the muscle? If they can't answer clearly, walk away. Get a second opinion, and a third. From qualified medical professionals who have nothing to gain from your decision. Talk to women who've had the surgery at that specific clinic, not the testimonials on their website. Real women. Ask them about complications, about recovery, about regrets. And please, if even one part of your gut says something feels wrong, trust it. The perfect body means nothing when you're not alive to enjoy it. Nke Oma Documentary TV. We don't just report stories, we demand change. If this documentary moved you, share it. Tag your friends who need to see this. Tag your representatives. Tag the regulatory agencies. Make noise. Because silence is how this epidemic continues. To the Nigerian government, we're watching. The deaths are documented. The failures are clear. The time for half measures is over. To the clinics, clean up your practices or face the consequences. The era of operating in the shadows is ending. To the young women of Nigeria, you are valuable. You are beautiful. You are enough. Choose life over likes. Choose safety over society's standards. Choose yourself. The beauty epidemic ends when we refuse to die for it. Nke Oma Documentary TV.